what I was thinking. Yeah, there is.
But do you think they understand, like, do you think that they understand these principles and they are purposefully doing things to?
No, I was
Okay.
thinking of, I was
I was
thinking
thinking
of the
myself.
national level, but they do understand these principles to a point. They understand them enough to have a certain level of control. When the people started saying, no, we don't want our taxes increased, did they say, oh, we've been caught, all right, never mind? No, they said, oh my gosh, well, if you don't want your taxes increased, you're gonna lose an ambulance and a fireman and policemen, and we're gonna shut down your library, and they threatened our safety instead of saying, oh, there are places in the budget we can cut back.
So you're talking local again.
That's local, and to that degree, I think they do understand the power that they have, and they seek first to attack our feeling of safety, and not only our feeling of safety, but if they really are starting there and saying, fine, we'll fire firemen and policemen and cancel the brand new ambulance, that is our safety, right? They're seriously threatening our safety instead of being willing to give up some of their power. So they want that money because it gives them more power, and they understand the connection. I'm not saying
Sometimes that whole thing is a distraction. You know, I mean, it can be a distraction from what we're really about, don't you think?
Yes.
So if we are really trying to have the product of freedom, that's what we're after.
Yes.
Then, you know, all the haggling about this program and that program, the other thing, is really a distraction. A lot of that stuff just doesn't, it's not really what we're talking about. You know what I mean?
That's why when we went to meet the candidates, some of the candidates, it was like every answer was, well, the proper role of government is, and we're like, okay, we're with you.
Exactly.
I mean,
Because
if you don't,
it kills our freedom. If you continue to take our money for things that you think you know better how to spend, then you continue to limit our freedom more and more and more. So it does always come back to that. It always comes back to that.
You're Deanna, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm Richard. So, just so, what your question made me think that these people who are guiding all of this for their own enrichment at a very high level are infiltrating down to the lowest levels. You think of the sustainable development thing that's a big catchword, and it's being orchestrated not just at the national level, but at the world level, like United Nations. And yet they put their agencies and their programs, and they convince everybody that it's going to give them food, medical, and whatever kind of security, protection, all this kind of stuff over the long range that is sustainable, and it's all built on false premise and false promises. So I think it's what we feel on the lower level is a trickle down kind of thing has been used by somebody else, but you know they have to apply it at all levels, or else people at the lower level will understand what their rights and responsibilities are, and they'll say no thank you.
See, and I guess I feel like that's more where the problem lies, is people don't understand their rights and responsibilities. They don't understand where liberty comes from. And so there's really no need for the leaders to even understand these principles. And I feel like what's really happening is people seek office to accomplish an agenda that's a selfish agenda, and they are using our money to accomplish their purposes, and they're unknowingly furthering these negative things in our society. I kind of feel like
You're being generous to
You
call
are.
it unknowingly.
You are. Let me give you an example. Chris Nichols received thousands of
I didn't want to
dollars.
say any names.
But he's not even there yet, and I think he's being used. But he
Well,
has
that's
received.
how I was referring to him actually. He has a personal agenda. I don't think
I
he's
don't
saying,
think it's
I'm gonna
personal.
go take, well, okay, so a lot of other people agree with the agenda and they're on board. Or they've got him,
Sure.
he is their pawn to get the agenda done, whatever. It's a selfish agenda, but I don't think the agenda is let's go take away everybody's rights. I think the agenda is let's go make a bunch of money and we can use, if we have somebody who's making decisions who can help our cause, by all means, we want him there. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Like, I don't think it's necessarily
But
that.
what I was going to say is, there's more than $20,000 in his campaign fund that came from the national level.
Oh, really?
Those people
Yeah, I
know
don't
what
doubt
their
it.
agenda is, and they're infiltrating clear down to Orem. That was my thing. I looked at those financial statements and I said, why does a national association even care about the mayoral race in Orem? But it's on land development. Now you tell me that's not infiltration. I mean,
But it's
And
the
how many
National
people-
Realtor Association, right?
yes. And regional land development. He had $1,500 from a land development company in Salt Lake City. And a title company. And I mean, it when you look at it and you say, okay, there's definitely a national agenda here that either he agrees with or he's being used for. I don't
Which
have
is
the
what I
whole
tend to
story
think
yet.
happens. I
I don't
tend to
have the
think
whole
it's more,
story yet.
these
But
people are being used.
there
But
is
if they're
someone who
willing to be used.
Well, in the end, it's the same.
That's the problem.
That's
Yeah.
I don't care if
Yes.
someone intentionally, kills me or not. I mean, if we're looking at the end, yeah, the intent makes it worse, but at the same time, it's easier to plan against someone who's intending to destroy you because you know their game plan.
Yeah.
Someone that's in there that doesn't even know what they're doing, and at the end is still the same harm to everyone else. That's harder to plan against. That's harder because you don't know which way they're going. That's why I say it's easier to plan. It's the devil you know, the devil you don't know. But you got to look at the end. If you're talking principles, it doesn't matter the names, it doesn't matter the faces, it doesn't matter
Right.
if they don't understand and agree with these principles. They're not worth their time. And so, but once again, that's a symptom because why did Chris Nichols get the votes he did? Because we live in a society where that works. He didn't
Money
elect. He
talks.
didn't elect himself.
Money
I mean,
talks.
well,
and
not
he's
even-
very smooth.
true, but let's say they spent $3 million, but the people here said, "Nah, that's not what we want."
The
I
problem,
mean,
Yeah,
to me,
yeah.
these are all more surface level.
And that's
things.
where the uneducated people don't understand come into play.
Yeah.
The main population, and I don't even think there is a lot of misunderstanding. There's no doubt about it. There's a lot of lack of education in
well,
Orem.
people are
But there's
blind
a
to
lot
what's
of
happening.
trust, especially in this area. There's a lot of trust, especially if they happen to be members of the same church. They just assume, oh, he's a good man, but they don't look at the philosophy of government. His philosophy of government is fundamentally different. I have people in my very ward that I love that are good, honest people, but their philosophy of the proper role of government is completely opposite mine. And so even if you have a wonderful person who does everything they can to be good and honest, if they don't understand the principles, the end is the same.
Yeah, and it's still dishonest action. Actually, this is awesome. I was thinking about this very thing today at work. Because I do some kind of mindless work, so I have a lot of time to think.
What do you do? Now I'm curious.
I'm at Harmon's.
Oh.
Actually, in the deli at Harmon's.
Got it.
Oh, okay.
And so,
Your side job when you're not saving the world.
yeah,
for free.
that's to eat, that's to survive,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then this is really what I care about. But I was thinking, from the looks down here, I'm surprised it wasn't more than a third. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Oh.
'Cause down here, it's way more than a third.
Oh my goodness. So I was thinking about it, why wasn't it more? And it might have been, this is my conjecture, but people, it's easy to love someone that loves you. And so when Jesus and the Father are there, you know, and they love you, and you can feel that, even if you don't really agree with what they're saying, it's easy to say, oh yeah, with them. But I think there's a profound difference between those who just love Jesus because he loves them and those that love the principles he stood for. And you'll see that profound difference. That's why, I mean, that's one of the problems, even with the founders. I love the founders, don't get me wrong, I love the founding fathers, but it wasn't about them. Because what if you switched the names? What if it was Hamilton that was right and Jefferson that was wrong? Well, really, it doesn't matter. It just matters what is right, not who is right. And in terms of our salvation, Jesus and the Father were right. But really, it's deeper than that. It's because it works because it's on true principles that are deeper than them, that they themselves didn't create.
Right, that's true.
So, anyways, just a thought. But you guys, it's in the Fed. I just thought, oh, that's weird. I was just thinking about that today. Yeah.
Can I take a comment next?
I think let's do one more and then switch gears.
Oh, okay,
Sorry.
because I think in all that we're talking about, because finding truth and then applying it, right?
Right.
Is on there.
Yes, let's talk
And
about
so, what choices do we individually make, or as families make, that are consistent with the principles, even though we are turning down all of these benefits that people have collected through taxes or compulsory means and have offered to us? Because it's basically a corrupt thing to re-elect people on wrong principles and to maintain power. And if